Well, y'all, it's time to repot. It's hot out here too. Mmm, that's some good lemonade. My husband made it for me. You want some? Hello, 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 all my beautiful planty and wannabe planty people. I hope y'all are having a fabulous day today. Welcome to my channel, Hooked on Houseplants. I am Darlena, aka Chula, and welcome. Today's video is kind of spur of the moment. I have several plants that I really need to repot. So I thought that I would bring you all along with me. So let's go ahead and get started. So the substrate that I will be using today is Happy Frog by Fox Farm. And I have a little bit of orchid substrate on the side. And in the past, I have used the Fox Farm Ocean Forest and I love it. But I wanted to try the Happy Frog. So that's what I have here. And this is what the bag looks like. But I like Fox Farm a lot. I feel like it's very high quality soil. But I wanted to read to you some of the ingredients. It is aged 50 to 60% aged forest products, sphagnum, perlite, and fertilizer. And the fertilizer is derived from earthworm castings, bat guano. That's bat poop or boo boo or however you want to say it. Oyster shell and dolomite lime. And the thing that I like most though about this particular substrate is it has soil microbes. I'm sure you've heard of the term mycorrhizae or zay, which is basically good bacteria that's found in the soil. And it says these little guys help improve root efficiency, which is something that we all want, and encourage nutrient uptake. That's why we never steam sterilize our soils. And it says that bat guano has been used for centuries as a fertilizer for all kinds of plants, as well as earthworm castings. So I know a lot of you add earthworm castings to your mixes. And this is the orchid mix that I like to use. And I like this one because it has charcoal and perlite in it, the larger pieces of perlite. Okay. Now, I'm not going to make my soil very chunky just because, take these off, the type of plants that I'm repotting, I don't feel like it's necessary. For example, the first plant that I'm going to be repotting, and remember I told y'all that I'm a sucker for punishment when it comes to certain plants? This is one of them. Now, I have had this Calathea pinstripe before. It's been about 2 years ago, and I think that this plant is so beautiful. It is a very simple plant. Well, I don't want to say simple. What am I trying to say? Common. That's what I want to say. It's a very common plant. but it is a calathea, so you know what that means. I've always thought that this is a beautiful plant, but I was very hesitant to purchase another one just because I had so much trouble with the last one that finally died on me, unfortunately. So I said, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try this plant again because I feel like, my skills have improved a little bit. So I'm going to repot her and I'm going to put her in self watering. My goal is to eventually transfer all of my calathea into self watering just because they like to have consistently moist substrate and they don't like to dry out. So we're going to start with her. And this is the self watering setup that I'm going to use. And I think this is a 4-inch, maybe 5-inch if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4. So she really won't be going up too much. When you're repotting, it's good to just maybe go up just one pot size. There are exceptions. There are exceptions, but for this particular plant, I'm just gonna go up just a little bit. Okay, so gonna take her out of, let me set this to the side. Gonna take her out of the substrate that she's in and have a good look at her roots. And her roots look good from what I can see. They look pretty healthy. I'm not gonna bother her roots a whole lot. Just gonna take a little bit of the soil off. Yeah, this soil doesn't even look like it has any perlite in it. I see a little bit of, well, it's a little bit, and it also has like some green fertilizer beads. Okay. So I don't think I'm gonna add any orchid bark with this plant just because I feel like this is a well draining soil. So I don't feel like it's necessary with this particular plant. So I'm just gonna put this through here. This has a wick. A little bit of, you know what, I might add just a little bit of orchid bark at the bottom, just a little bit. Kind of looks like that. And then I kind of like to pull the wick cord up just a little bit in the center. I don't know if you can see that. Just to make sure that the plant is going to be able to absorb the water from the wick. So I'm just going to put her down in there like that. And then I'm just gonna add some soil around the edges. I think what happened with the last pinstripe calathea was I probably was messing with it too much. I can't really remember exactly what happened. It does seem like I recall the plant getting spider mites. And at that time, I didn't know a whole lot about spider mites. So I kind of remember battling spider mites. And I think that whatever I used to get rid of them may have been too strong for the plant. And it just seemed like it just started going downhill very quickly, as calathea can do. They're very sensitive to certain things. Let's see, she's fitting in there very nicely. As I said in another video, I can't remember which one, but I started talking about how I was kind of rethinking the chunky aeroid mix, and for certain plants, I should say. And the reason why is because I've been running into a problem with that. Now, this is just my particular situation because of where I have my plants at. They're out here on my patio, so whatever the temperature is outside, it may be like a degree or two cooler in here because I have fans going. So if it's 90 degrees outside, it's going to be about like that in here. So if you have your plants in a very chunky aeroid mix and you do not stay on top of the watering, what can happen very easily is that the roots can become too dry. So then when you go to water the plant, the roots are so dry that they're unable to absorb the moisture. They're unable to absorb the water. So the water kind of sits there and the roots rot because of that. It's called dry rot. And I was trying to look up some information on it. I couldn't really find a whole lot on dry rot. So this is kind of my theory of what I believe happens with dry rot, is that the roots become so dry that they can't absorb the water. So I think that has been happening with a lot of my plants. In my my video before last, when I had to take my philodendron painted lady out of her substrate and she had extensive root rot. I believe that it was due to maybe the soil being a little bit too chunky and me going too long without watering her. And so then when I watered her, I believe that's what caused the root rot. So like I said, I'm rethinking it with some plants. Just maybe, I still believe in chunky soil, definitely, because the roots, they really need that aeration. But I'm just going forward, I'm going to make my mix a little less chunky, if that makes sense. Okay, so she is all ready to go. And she's going to be looking really cute in her pot, her new self-watering pot. This does have the little indicator, a little window, so you can see the water level. And I got these from Amazon. And I can link them below in the description box. So she is done, Miss Calathea Pinstripe. She just needs some water and she's good. Okay, so the next one that I want to repot is my Calathea, not Calathea, Maranta, the red Maranta. Now, from my experience with Marantas, I have this red Maranta and I also have the lemon lime Maranta. They seem to be thirstier plants to me. And this one, it seems like I tend to just always miss or not give her enough water. And that's why her leaves are curling up a bit. So I want to put her in a self-watering setup too. And so this is what I have. This is self-watering. It's just a little bit different. But as you can see, it's just a little bit bigger than the current pot that she's in. I just watered her, so this substrate that she's in is kind of moist. But let me see. See her roots. Well, let me look at these roots, y'all. You see how those roots are coming off at the bottom? See, this is what I'm talking about. Although I didn't really have her in too much of a chunky mix, but maybe because of underwatering, I think some of her roots are, yeah, see, some of her roots are coming off. Yeah. So maybe that's why the leaves are curled. You see that piece of root? It's just, I think that's a corm. Oh, she actually has, 3. You see those? 1, 2. Then she has another one right there. So yeah, whoops. These are the corms. I don't know if you can see those. I'm gonna put those back in the pot with her. So I'm thinking the rest of these roots look pretty good. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of do much of the same. If I can get this, okay. Hers, I might, well, let me see. Okay. So I think I am going to add a little bit of the orchid mix at the bottom of hers too. So that's what it's looking like down there. And once again, I kind of pulled the wick up just to make sure that her roots are able to access the wick and get all the water that she needs. So I'm just gonna set her down in here. And this one, I'm just gonna kind of, like I did with the other one, just kind of keep the substrate how it is. I don't feel like anything needs to be added. It's like I said, Maranta, Calathea, they're all thirsty plants and they like soil that drains well, but at the same time retains moisture. Hope y'all were able to see that. So hopefully she'll be happier and won't dry out. as quickly. So add a little bit more to the top. Okay, so she is done. Here she goes. You just add the water here, and she's good to go. I might just add maybe just a little bit of water because, like I said, I just watered her, so she doesn't need a whole lot of water. Okay. So I have one, well, I have more than one more, but I'm just gonna do one more with you all. Let's see. I think I'm going to do this one because this is another one that I kind of forget about when it comes to watering. This is the Philodendron Golden Goddess. And see, her soil is super dry now. I'm gonna also put her in self-watering. And y'all, I have all kinds of self-watering pots. I don't know if this one's gonna be too big for her. I think maybe it might be. So for her, I'm going to use one of these, I believe. This. Okay. So I know previously I had told you all that I really got into plants during COVID. That's true when it comes to the buying part of it, but I've always loved plants. And it's kind of funny how it started because because this is a philodendron, I am going to add some orchid bark, but not a whole lot. When my husband and I got married, you know how sometimes when you first get married, you don't have a whole lot, at least that's how it was in our case. So that's how that's looking. And I remember our first apartment was really cute. But it was bare. We didn't hardly have anything. And like we just had the basics. I think we had a sofa, a love seat, a little table, a bed and some dressers, and I think that was about it. And so one day I was just kind of looking around. I'm like, wow, it looks like this apartment needs something to spice it up. And so it just popped in my mind, you know what? I think some plants would look good in here. And that's where it started, y'all. That's where it started. Like I went to Lowe's and I started looking at some plants and I bought a couple and I placed them around our apartment. And I just thought that it just added so much to the ambiance, so to speak. And so from there, I was like kind of hooked. Like I've always throughout the years had plants, just like pothos, little plants like that. I never had more than like 3 or 4 plants. And I remember I had this huge Schefflera, but I bought it like that. And that plant was so pretty, but it had the worst case of scale. And I didn't even realize that it had scale, that it had a pest. And I tell you, I got some houseplant books. And so when I read about scale and I looked at it on the plant, I was like, wow, like this plant is infested with scale. It was literally covered in scale. And there was nothing that I could do to save it. So I ended up having to just throw the plant away, a whole plant away. And that just hurt my heart, but it just was too far gone. So the roots on this one are looking really good. She doesn't have any roots sloughing off or anything like that. So I'm just gonna set her down in here. And just fill her up. And so that's kind of where my journey began. You know, just wanting to have them more so as decor, or to add to, look, to add to the lack of decor. But then during COVID, it's like, y'all, I didn't even know that people made houseplant videos. So I started watching all these houseplant videos on YouTube, and I was like, wow, like I just, like, my love for plants just went like from here to here. And so I was like, okay, yeah, this is something that I really, really want to get into. And it started from there. It just kind of grew and grew. So I love taking care of plants. It is very therapeutic for me. I come out here, like I said, sometimes my husband and I, we sit out here in the morning. That bird is so rude, I tell you. Or that crow or whatever that is. But sometimes we just sit out here in the morning and we drink our coffee, and it's so peaceful. We're just surrounded by all of my plants, and I just love it. I just love it. So she is done. For all of you new plant parents, as you can see, repotting is like no big deal. It really is not. You just got to pick out, you know, the pot that you need, have your soil together, and boom. That's all you need to repot. So I am expecting some acrylic plant stakes. I'm trying to do better, y'all. Because look, I was about to put this one in there. It's not bad, but I think I'm gonna wait for my acrylic stakes to come, and then I'll put one in this plant. So she is looking good. You know what? I think no, I think I'm gonna put her in a white one. I think a white one against her leaves will pop a little bit better. Yep, I think I like that better. So she is all done. So that is it, y'all. Well, I have a whole lot more repotting to do, but that's all I'm going to do with you all today. I hope you enjoyed it. So this is what we did. We did the Golden Goddess, the Maranta, the red Maranta, and the Calathea Pinstripe, all in self-watering setups. So I will give you an update in a couple of months, let you know how they're doing in their self-watering setup. I have no doubt, though, that they'll be good, but I'll definitely give you an update on this system. Okay. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, give it a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, I would just so greatly appreciate it if you did. Let me know down in the comments what type of videos you all would like to see, what type of content you would like to see from me. I would love to hear from you. And let me know what you think about this repotting session. If you want to see more of it, or just let me know. Just let me know what floats your boat, okay? So you all take care. Thanks for watching once again. Check me out on Instagram. And if you are already subscribed to my channel, please hit that notification bell so you know when your chula has uploaded new planty content. Take care. I love you. And once again, thanks for watching. Hooked on houseplants, y'all. Bye.